Good morning. This video is an introduction to Latin for Summer intensive course and a discussion of the first 3 lessons, which you'll be reviewing over the next 2 days. So a couple things about this course. It's on Canvas. So I've added you all to the Canvas course. If you have trouble accessing it, or if for some reason you don't get the invitation, please let me know either by phone or email or whatever way, and I will help you get signed on. I know it can be complicated and we're all still getting used to technology. The class is totally online. I expect to have video lectures on Mondays, and on Wednesdays and Fridays to have Zoom meetings where we have some instruction where I'm lecturing, but then we also do some exercises together. And that's partially because we're not going to have written homework. And it's important to do exercises, but because we're trying to fit so much new material into such little time, I didn't want to burden you all with too much written homework. You will have a weekly quiz due on Mondays, and this quiz will be available the whole week, but it's just due by Monday. And the goal with that is that it will have at least one retake available. So you'll take it once and you'll be able to see your mistakes, and you can take it again, retake it. On the first quiz, I'll probably make it unlimited retakes. But whatever's done on Monday night by midnight, that's what quiz score will be kept. And your grading for this course is divided between participation and the quiz grades. So quiz grades are 75% and your participation is 25%. And the participation is graded like I normally grade it. You have to show up to Zoom meetings and you have to participate in them, answer questions, not necessarily correctly. So if you answer a lot of questions and you're often wrong, I won't penalize you for that. Mostly I'm looking for a willingness and a readiness to participate in the class. All right. My late work policy for quizzes is just the same as it is for homework and quizzes at Mars Hill during this school year. So if you get an excuse from a parent before the due time, then I am happy to waive and to give you more time on an assignment. Otherwise, I can't accept late assignments. Okay? One thing that's different from the normal school time classes about this course is I really want to extend extra grace. We're fitting a whole lot of material into a little bit of time. So I understand that it was going to be difficult, and there's going to be a lot more room for error while still getting a fairly good grade in the course. So don't be distraught if you have a hard time keeping up. It's a hard thing to do, and I am here to help you. If you need extra help sessions, I'm always available. The easiest way to get a hold of me is through email, but you could also text or call me if it's a last minute thing. Aside from that, we're still working on the meeting times. I'm hoping to do Wednesdays and Fridays at 9 or 10 a.m. and I'm waiting to hear back from a few people if that will work for them. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, I'm going to give you a review of these lessons. So the first unit, we're in the first unit of Form 4, and the first unit is all or almost all review, especially about syntax and grammar. So your lessons for today through Wednesday, the next time we meet, are 1 through 3, and that includes 13 pages of material. But take heart, most of the information is review. So if you are reading through the lesson and you see that almost everything is review to you and you know it like the back of your hand, that's good. Don't worry about the number of pages. Okay, so let me just go through it. I'm going to move fairly quickly. There are a few new things, and there's a few new vocab, so you do have to pay attention. Okay, so the first page, I'm starting at page 1. So the subject of a verb is in the nominative case. Check mark, you guys know that. 2, a predicate nominative is a noun that follows a linking verb, renames the subject, and is in the nominative case. So our example here might be Audrey is a teacher. Now Audrey is the subject, is a linking verb, and a teacher is a noun that refers exactly to Audrey. And so that noun would be translated in the nominative case in Latin. So that would be Etelgreda, that's my name, est magistra, nominative singular subject, or nominative singular predicate nominative. The other similar concept is predicate adjective, which is an adjective that refers to the subject but is after a linking verb. So that would be Audrey is tired. Tired is an adjective describing Audrey, but it's after the linking verb, and so it's called a predicate adjective. Okay, moving on. So number 3, the genitive. In Latin, the genitive case is used to express possession, or more generally, belonging to. That's one of the main uses of the genitive, and you already know that. 4, many of expressions in English are translated by the genitive. These expressions may denote relationships other than possession, such as part or description. One of those is the objective genitive. If a noun implies action, it may be followed by a noun or pronoun in the genitive case. Okay, so nostri and vestri, that's us, or we and y'all, are the objective genitive for the plural first and second person pronouns. So for example, we have metus Dei, objective, this is an objective genitive, fear of God. And that describes what kind of fear it is. It's the fear of God. And then there's metus mei, fear of me, metus vestri, fear of y'all. So the objective genitive gives more information about the noun. So what kind of fear is it? It's the kind of fear that's the fear of God. Okay, then there's the partitive genitive. That is what it sounds like. So pars legionis, part of the legion. It's when any phrase implies that it's part of something. Okay, that's the partitive genitive. And we use nostrum and vestrum for those in the we and y'all cases. Okay, then we have the dative, number 7. The indirect object of a verb is in the dative case. Simple enough. 8. The direct object of a verb is in the accusative case. No. 9. Ablative of agent. Okay, so we know about several kinds of ablative constructions. We call them constructions. So one ablative construction is ablative of agent. In the passive voice, the living agent who performs the action of a verb may be expressed by the prepositional phrase with the preposition a or ab, a or ab, which takes an object in the ablative case. So Galli, the Gauls, a Caesare, by Caesar, sunt, are, superantur, are conquered, okay? So that's the Gauls are conquered by Caesar. That's a living agent. So the living agent, the ablative of agent, uses the preposition a or ab. The ablative of means, on the other hand, does not have a preposition, and it's used for non-living agents. So their example in the book is Romani oppidum gladiis vincunt. The Romans, vincunt, conquer the town, oppidum, with swords, or by means of swords, gladiis. And that's all review. Moving on. Okay, next, the vocative. This may be fairly new. I think I've mentioned it, but we haven't really studied it. A person or thing directly addressed or spoken to is in the vocative case. This comes from voco, vocare, to call. So if I'm calling you, I might say, Elaine, please turn in your homework. And that Elaine there is me addressing you. So that's called the vocative. Okay. 12. A appositive is a noun that immediately follows another noun and renames it. The appositive agrees with its noun in case, and usually, but not necessarily, in gender and number. In English, the appositive is set off by commas, but may not be in Latin. If an appositive renames two people of different genders, use the masculine form. Okay, so an example of an appositive. Audrey, comma, a teacher, comma, is tired. So right there, a teacher is another word set off by commas describing me. In Latin, that would be et aldreda, magistra, fessa est. Fessa est is tired. Okay? Moving on. Okay, adjectives. This is 29, 30 and 31. 29. An adjective agreement rule. An adjective must agree with its noun in gender, number, and case, but not declension. The reason, as you guys know, to say that but not declension is that you can use a third declension adjective to describe a first declension noun or any other combination. The main thing is that it agrees in gender, number, and case. Okay, next, a predicate adjective. We already covered that. Next, 31. Adjectives are often used as nouns in Latin and in English. Latin often uses the masculine or neuter plural adjective to designate a class of people or things. In Caesar's great work, De Bello Gallico, Caesar often uses the plural of noster for our men. So he would just say nostri, our. That literally means our. But it, in this case, is being substantivized and made to mean our guys. So I've talked about this too, where you can refer to, for example, I could say, they are good men, and that would be sunt boni. And boni really just is an adjective, good, but in the nominative plural, I'm using it there in a substantivized or nounified form to mean our or good men. Okay. All right, next. Okay, number 63. Adjectives may precede or follow their nouns. Though not a strict rule, adjectives of quantity often precede nouns, and adjectives of quality often follow nouns. And then there are some adjectives, such as magnus, altus, latus, that can refer either to quantity or quality, depending on the context. This isn't as important of a rule, but just remember, it's good to remember quantity adjectives often precede and quality adjectives often follow the noun they modify. Okay, now some vocabulary notes from this lesson. The dative and ablative plurals of dea and filia are deabus and filiabus, to distinguish them from the masculine dative and ablative plurals of deus and filius. We already talked about that. Silva often has the same meaning in the singular and the plural, forest, woods. You already know that. Caelum is the neuter in the singular and masculine in the plural. So, for some reason, caelum looks neuter in the singular, caelum, o, but it doesn't change to a in the plural. Instead, it changes to the masculine forms. So, caeli, caelorum, caelis, caelos, caelis. Okay? Okay, next, locus is masculine in the singular and neuter in the plural. So, this is the opposite of caelum. So it's locus, o, but then it changes to neuter. Loca, locorum, locis, loca, locis. Okay? I'm going to skip some things. Okay, so sometimes do, the word do, which means to give, can be used in more ways than just simple giving. So an example here, use do with the phrase in fugam to say put to flight, or literally give into flight. So if I want to say the lieutenants put the Gauls to flight, I'll say legati, the lieutenants, in fugam dant, they put to flight, or put into flight, or give into flight, Gallos, the Gauls. Okay, another one, let's see, oh, never mind. Okay, so that's one use of do. Moving on. Okay, some more vocabulary notes. Latin often used the plural of hostis when referring to a group like the Gauls, when English would use the singular word enemy. So they would say hostes, the enemies literally, but we would just say the enemy did blah blah blah. So that's one thing. The ablative singular of mos moris can mean according to custom. Okay, so mos moris means custom. More could mean by custom or according to custom. That's an example of a naked ablative. Okay. All right. Another note, the nouns satis and nihil, you already know these, are both indeclinable, which means that they don't change their form. They're always satis and always nihil. Okay. Okay, you know the word oratio as speech and maybe some other words, but it also means prayer. Oratio can mean prayer. That's another note that they want to make. Okay, next, the expletive there. When an English sentence begins with there is, or there are, there indicates existence and functions only as a word to begin the sentence. It has no grammatical usage and is thus an expletive. In Latin, the same construction is formed with a third person form of sum. So, for example, sunt duo fratres means there are duo fratres, two brothers. Or in a singular example, est in Europa exercitus. There is, est, in Europe, an army. Okay? And this goes for the imperfect or the future, and any tense of sum can be used. So if I wanted to say there were two brothers, I would say erant instead of sunt, duo fratres. And usually when it's going to be like that, where it's going to be there are, you put the sunt, or the form of sum, at the very beginning of the sentence. All right. Okay, remember that there are some Latin nouns that have only plural forms and plural meanings. A noun and its verb must agree in number. Okay, so, for example, we have arma, armorum, which is a neuter word, meaning arms, but you can't have armum, the singular. It just doesn't exist. It's always arms, so it's always arma, orum, is, a, is. Another example is winter is only in, or winter quarters rather, hiberna. That's only in the plural, and also liberi, liberorum, children. Okay? Latin also has nouns with plural forms that have singular meanings in English. A noun and its verb must agree in number, each in its own language. Okay, castra, for example. Castra is a singular meaning, camp, but plural form, castra, neuter. and also insidiae, which is a plot, but it's a plural form, insidiae aurum is as is. Okay, another one, Athens, is plural in Latin and singular in English, even though it ends in the letter S. So Athens is a place in English that's singular. In the Latin, it's Athenae, Athenorum. Okay. Okay, here's another one like dough, where I added a new meaning. In Latin and English, we share this idiom, use facio, to make, with impetus, attack, to make an attack. So, for example, exercitus impetum fecerunt. The army made an attack. Okay, here we're at the bottom of page, it's labeled page 13, but it's the 7th page of your PDF. You have some new vocabulary. There's about 5 to 7 of them, so learn those. And then the next page also has some new vocabulary, about 10 of them. You'll add those. Okay, so the next page is some more vocab notes. Christianus, Romanus, and Barbarus are all nouns that you have learned. However, they are also adjectives. The adjective forms are first and second declension adjective forms, so us, a, okay? To say a female Christian, Roman, or barbarian, use the adjective form as a noun. So Christiana means a Christian woman. Okay, here's another grammar fact. Double accusative. Okay, so the verbs that call, name, make, or elect someone, something, as something, may take 2 accusative, one for the someone and another for the something. The something is called the predicate accusative. So that sounds complicated. It's not as complicated as it seems. For example, Christ called God Father. So God, in that case, is the regular direct object. He called him, the someone, Father, the something. So those both are going to be accusatives. And the father one is called the predicate accusative. Okay. A predicate accusative is different from an appositive. In the first sentence, Christ called God by the title Father. An appositive would be, we pray to God, comma, the Father. In English, we can really tell the difference between these with the commas, by the commas. Okay, next, the use of nomen, which means name. The word nomen can be used in a double accusative, cannot be used in a double accusative. Instead, it is put in the ablative singular. So, Christum nomine appellamus. We address Christ, Christum, by name, nomine. There's another use of an ablative without any prepositions. So you're beginning to see that there are so many uses of the ablative. Nomine can also be used in other constructions. For example, it may be used with a proper noun. In these sentences, you may also translate nomine as named. So, for example, poeta Marcus nomine amicus est. So that's the poet. Marcus, by name, is a friend. Okay? Okay, so the next the final 4 pages of your lesson are declensions. So you have to review, this is the main point, you have to review the 5 declensions, and you have to review the declension of adjectives in the first and second declension and third declension adjectives. Ideally, you've already been reviewing this and you already have these, like, you could say them in your sleep. But do review them if they are rough, because we need to move on pretty quickly, and I don't want to spend a lot of time reviewing what you already know. Okay, so a lot of what I've said in this video is important and interesting notes about things you already know. Your quiz will, actually, we'll talk more about the quiz Wednesday. Don't worry about it so much right now. I recommend strongly that you print out your PDF from today and study it on paper. I think it really helps you to keep the knowledge. You could take a highlighter out or crayons for all I care and mark it up and mark the things you don't remember, mark the things that are new, things like that. But do memorize your new vocab. And I will see you Wednesday in a Zoom video. Think of any questions you have for me about the class, how it should go. I look forward to being with you all again, even if it's over Zoom. Have a good day.